Dear Excellencies, Mr. Salman Khurshid, Mr. Farouk Abdullah, and Mr. Muhammad Adib, Excellencies, my colleague, Ambassador of Turkey, Ambassador of Algeria, dear dignitaries, each one in his name and position, human rights activists, ladies and gentlemen, namaste, assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. Allow me to thank you all and thank the Indian Muslim for civil rights for giving me this opportunity to be with you and talk about the Palestinian situation. As the title of this event is the Human Rights and United Nations, allow me to thank the Secretary General of the United Nations for his relentless effort, for the clarity of his voice, for having upheld this sacred mission to stand up for the UN Charter and for the protection of the civilian by calling early for immediate humanitarian ceasefire. Allow me also to thank, through him, the United Nations for their humanitarian efforts. The UN has been the subject of despicable attack of honoring the mandate formulated by member states. It is the duty of member states to reject and put an end to such attacks, especially at a time where United Nations personnel on the ground are also victims, many killed, wounded, and displaced. Dear brothers, sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I will begin my speech on October 7th. Here I say that anyone interested and following the Palestinian issue and what was going on in the occupied territories for 56 years, especially since the formation of this extremist government headed by Mr. Netanyahu, with the participation of the extremist settler leaders such as Ben Gvir and Smotrich, should without any doubt expect that something big is going to happen. Many were talking about the third intifada and the explosion of the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories. Since the formation of this government at the beginning of this year until 7th of October, 260 Palestinian citizens were killed in occupied West Bank by the Israeli occupation army and the settler militia. The largest percentage of land was confiscated to build and expand settlements, as well as the largest percentage for building settlement units in West Bank and East Jerusalem, poisoning the lives of the Palestinian population through 645 military checkpoints on the roads of the West Bank, in addition to arbitrary arrests and sentences, where more than 5,000 detainees remain, some of whom have been detained since before Oslo Accord. Some detainees' sentence goes up to 600 or 700 years. It is another story. As for East Jerusalem and the Islamic and the Christian sanctities, it is another story. Hundreds and sometimes thousands of settlers storm Al-Aqsa Mosque with the protection of Israeli army, and any Palestinian who might shout Allahu Akbar is arrested or kept away from Al-Aqsa Mosque for a long time. The Israeli government aims to divide Al-Aqsa temporally and spatially. It has succeeded in temporal division by the force of the Israeli occupation army until now, and they are working to spatial division to build the third temple in Al-Aqsa Mosque. When we talk about the Gaza Strip, you all know that this place has been subject to a siege for more than 16 years. More than 2.2 million Palestinian citizens live in an open prison where the poverty rate reaches 70%. The hopes of aspirations of the population in the Gaza Strip are very limited due to the lack of freedom of movement outside the Gaza Strip. In addition, Israel's control over the population is complete through the borders and armed drones, which enable the Israelis to assassinate anyone in Gaza Strip. With the absence of any political horizon and the refusal of the Israeli government to lead the Israeli governments led by Netanyahu to discuss any political solution, as well as international communities ignoring of Palestinian calls, whether through the United Nations, international conferences, or through bilateral relations. All of this has led to the 7th of October. Since the 7th of October, in 67 days, Israel has killed more than 18,000 Palestinians, including 7,800 children and more than 500 women. And more than 7,000 Palestinians still under the building rubbles. It wounded over 49,000. It displaced 1.9 million. It destroyed 2/3 of their homes. It attacked, besieged, destroyed, and neutralized virtually all the hospitals. It bombed the bakeries. It attacked UN shelters. 86 journalists have been killed. 67 days without electricity, water, food, fuel, and medicine. It placed every possible impediment for humanitarian aid and access. With all that, we are all supposed to pretend that this aggression is not aimed at the destruction of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, when it has besieged and bombed our people and deprived them of all the requirements of life. I keep reading in the media that the Israeli hostages should be released. They are talking about 130 people, most of them are soldiers. But no one talk about 10,000 Palestinian hostages in the Israeli prisons, 5,000 of them before 7th of October, and another 5,000 after in West Bank and Gaza. No one talk about 2.2 million hostages live in an open prison called Gaza Strip. This is the hypocrisy of the United States and the old colonialism countries, especially Britain, France, Germany, and Italy. Not only that, but they consider all of Gaza as military target. That everyone in Gaza can be killed since they are either terrorists or human shields. This is Netanyahu's war. This is the war of the extremist coalition in power in Israel. No one should get sucked into it any further. Its aim is not security. Its aim is to prevent forever any prospect of Palestinian independence and of peace. These intentions are clear in the Gaza Strip as well in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. The Palestinian people will not die silence. The Palestinian people will not die in vain. The Palestinian people deserve respect. Every people does, but we have earned it. We have paid the heaviest of a price to earn it. We have survived every attempt in annihilate us over a century with barely any means. Show us respect, not in words, but in deeds. Show respect to our lives. At the end, I would like to thank you very much. To our rights, show respect to our lives, to our rights. Thank you very much.
फ़लस्तीन के हिंदुस्तानी सफ़ीर अदनान अबुल हैजा आपसे मुखातिब थे और उन्होंने शुक्रिया अदा किया IMCR का, और उन्होंने उसके साथ साथ शुक्रिया अदा किया यूनाइटेड नेशन के सेक्रेटरी जनरल का, जो उनकी कोशिशें हैं सीज़ फायर के लिए और ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एफ़र्ट्स के लिए। और उन्होंने ये भी बात करी कि जो बातें यहाँ पर हुई 7 अक्टूबर से, तो हमको एक नज़र 7 अक्टूबर से पहले भी डालनी पड़ेगी। और उन्होंने ये बात कही कि 7 अक्टूबर में जो चीज़ें शुरू हुई उसमें सबसे बड़ा रोल नेतन्याहू की जिस पॉलिसी का था, जिसमें लगातार 70% से ज़्यादा इलाकों पे कब्ज़ा किया गया, सेटलर्स की कॉलोनी बनाई गई और एक पूरा इस तरह से प्लान बनाया गया कि लग रहा था कि ये दूसरा इंतफादा होने जा रहा है। और 645 चेक पॉइंट उस वक्त इस 7 अक्टूबर से पहले इजराइल में जो फ़िलिस्तीनी लोग रह रहे थे उनकी ज़िंदगी दुश्वार कर रहे थे। और अल-अक़सा मस्जिद की जो सिक्योरिटी है वो ख़ुद इजरायली फोर्सेस के हाथ में थी और वो फोर्सेस लगातार मुसलमानों को तंग कर रही थी, यहाँ तक कि अल्लाहू अकबर कहने पर भी लोगों को परेशान किया जाता था और अक्सर डिटेन भी कर लिया जाता था। फिर उन्होंने ये बात कही कि जो असल मसला है वो मसला इस वक्त ये है कि जो 2.2 मिलियन पॉपुलेशन जो गाज़ा में रह रही है, जो 70% पॉवर्टी लाइन के बीच में है, उसके बारे में कोई बात क्यों नहीं करी गई। फिर उन्होंने ये कहा कि इस पूरे मामले में 18,000 फ़िलिस्तीनियों ने शहादत पाई, 18,000 लोगों का कत्ल हुआ, जिसमें से 8,000 बच्चे, औरतें थीं और 7,000 लोग अभी भी मलबे के अंदर दबे हुए हैं। उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि इस पूरे हमले में हॉस्पिटल्स को और यहाँ तक कि यूनाइटेड नेशंस के बनाए हुए शेल्टर्स को भी नहीं छोड़ा गया। और इस वक्त जो बातचीत चल रही है, उस बातचीत में इजराइल सिर्फ अपने डिटेनीज की बात कर रहा है कि जो लोग उनके पकड़े गए हैं, और उन पकड़े गए लोगों में से 130 लोगों की बात हो रही है जो सिर्फ फौज के लोग हैं, यानी कि सोल्जर्स हैं 130। और उन्होंने ये बात कही कि उन लोगों के बारे में कोई बात नहीं कर रहा जो 10,000 फ़िलिस्तीनी जो है इजराइल की जेलों में हैं, जिनमें से 5,000 फ़िलिस्तीन के लोग 7 अक्टूबर से पहले से इजराइल की जेलों में थे, और बहुत से वो कैदी भी हैं उनमें से जो ओस्लो अकॉर्ड के पहले से जेल में बंद हैं। उसके साथ साथ उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि इस पूरे माहौल को इस तरह से बना दिया गया है कि लग रहा है कि पूरा गाज़ा जो है वो आर्मी लैंड है, और गाज़ा के रहने वाले सारे लोग फौजी हैं, और इस तरह से ये हमले लगातार किए जा रहे हैं। उन्होंने फिर लास्ट में एक बार हम सब का और ख़ासकर IMCR का शुक्रिया किया और